show. Ron Bennington, Fez Butley with you tonight, live on a Thursday on 106.7 WJFK.
We were talking a little bit about history, and then, the way they're changing some of the school books. And I'm finding out our own Wonder Boy somewhat ashamed of his nation's history. Most of these things I've learned to accept, Fez, is just, part of life. I do think that the United States should take responsibility for some of the things that have happened by our ancestors and try to make things right at this point now. But I don't know if I'd go with Wonder Boy's thing of a Day of Atonement.
Yeah, I think that the thing that you should do is
instead of Columbus Day.
Yeah, instead of having Columbus Day where we celebrate all the things, the terrible things that he did to the natives, you should make that a day where people start to say, hey, what we did was inappropriate, it was wrong.
I know, but that's going to make the Italians feel bad. That's really their day. They have street fairs. And, it's one good day to feel good about being Italian.
With me, I'm always up for a holiday. Why not just add another day, maybe Native American Day?
Because, again, it would be like celebrating the fact that someone did something wrong. You would never have a day for a guy that murdered someone and then have a victim day after that.
All right, let me ask you this. Would you take off work for Charlie Manson Day?
No.
Yeah, I would.
I would take any day off that they're going to give me.
Hitler Day?
I would take off for Hitler Day.
Pedophile Day?
Yeah, I usually ask for that anyway, but I would take... If someone's giving me a holiday, I'm taking it. I don't have to celebrate it.
Here's Eric. Eric, you're on the Fez.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Eric.
I've been taking notes while I've been on hold about different things that Wonder Boy's been saying.
And what have you come up with?
Well, first of all, slavery didn't really go away and start to be a bad thing until the Age of Man, which was around the 1600s when people started philosophizing again and really getting back into the old text and thinking that every man was equal upon himself and to each other.
All right, let's not try to talk hoity-toity to us, okay? What's your point?
Well,
what are you saying? Up to that point, is not all people were equal. It's only a fairly recent thing that people became equal.
Right.
Oh, I see.
The Europeans thought that everybody else were savages. Now,
it would be like us saying that dogs are our slaves. We go, no, they're just our dogs. You know what I'm saying, though, Fez? Like,
yeah.
We don't have... the same way we treat cattle. And when a person tries to say, oh, we can't eat them, they're our brothers and sisters, we're like, whatever, I'm having a burger.
Eric, just because we didn't realize everyone was equal at first, though, doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? Just because...
They looked at as property because they had been won. Also, in terms of Columbus, he lost one ship, so he lost 25% of his supplies. By the time they got to the New World, most of the supplies were wet due to the storms that they encountered coming over to the New World. So therefore, the gunpowder wasn't good. So they only had enough gunpowder to go hunting with. Also, when they got there, the sails coming over the horizon appeared to be clouds, and it was a white man, supposedly on the cloud, which in the Caribbean Indians' religion was the second coming of their God. So they thought that he was their God.
All right, that was
that's kind of cool.
That was an F-up. That was a mistake that was tough to shake.
Right. Now, that's also what happened to the Aztecs and the Mayans when Cortez came over. But once they figured out what they were doing, they started poisoning the soldiers as they slept. So Columbus pulled all of his men back, went to the ships, and they were sleeping on the ships. After that, Columbus sent word back for more supplies for guns and more powder, because powder that he had was useless because it had gotten wet. And basic black powder in those days, if it got wet, it couldn't dry out and work. It still can't work today, unless you have a really highly technical black powder. Also, the Africans did sell other Africans to the Europeans.
All right, thanks a lot, Eric. We appreciate it.
So the way he was putting it sounded like there was no way Columbus and the explorers could have possibly beaten anybody.
Again, they thought he was a god.
That was their mistake. If I showed up somewhere and you said, hey, it's God, I might end up banging your chick, Wonder Boy. I would really do something like that. You know why? Sucker born every minute. That's what we tried to teach people.
But the people could only go on the information that they had. If the information that they had said that if a man that looks different than you, if a man that is lighter or radiant shows up on a cloud, and these people see sails as a cloud, a sail, something they've never had a concept of, you can't fault them for thinking that this is lining up with a prophecy.
One day, and then you shake it off, big man. Then you got to shake it off. And you got to pull everybody together.
If you thought someone was your God, it would take them a lot more than just one day to ruin that image in your mind. I mean, if someone that you've been waiting for, like a God, shows up.
I think the first one that got his head blown off, I'd start to catch on.
Here is Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, buddy.
Buddy, go ahead.
Well, yeah, similar to the previous guy, it was magic to them. Take a stick, you point it at something, it makes a flash, and something way far away falls over dead.
I understand. That had to freak some people out. That had to be weird. Plus the horses. Everything had to be weird.
But
still, they had the numbers.
At some point, doesn't some survival instinct come in? I mean,
Eventually it did.
If we go back to the extraterrestrial analogy, yes, they could come here and start using things that fascinate us. But we would know what they're doing is bad.
That's because that we can take things that we've seen. We've seen an alien, and I don't mean extraterrestrial, but we've seen an alien thing enter our environment, and we've learned how to deal with it. So you can take that to another level where you can make that alien property anything. Extraterrestrial, you can make a person of a different nationality, any kind of thing. Because that's a situation that we've seen. The Indians had never seen a situation where something alien to them had shown up.
They had never had anyone come into their area, their village, and start killing.
Or they never saw white people. They never saw guns. They never saw horses. So yeah, I'm going to give you that.
When you combine all that.
Sure.
Yes.
It's awe-inspiring.
Overwhelming. And then later you got to go, wait a minute. I don't think these guys are gods. I think they're a bunch of bastards. I think we got to start killing them.
Or if anything, they're bad gods.
Here's Kevin. Kevin, you're on Fez.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to say was, like, in reference to the guns, the only thing the Indians could compare that down to would probably be thunder. So that probably freaked them out to hear like that loud boom and just see people falling. They had no idea what was going on.
All right, so they're thinking, oh, thunder, they're controlling the weather.
It would literally be like if something happened, if your house got struck by lightning, you start throwing punches at the sky. That's exactly how the natives would feel.
I would.
It would be ineffective, though.
Maybe at first. But I would find a strategy. All right, here's our buddy Fairfax Mike. What's up, Mike? You're on the air.
Hey, Fairfax.
On the fence, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
How you guys doing today? I want to tell Wonder Boy the idea of reparations for slavery is just about ludicrous. I'm a brother. I just want to know, how do you even begin to put a price on... I mean, black people are woven into the fabric of the United States of America. You can't put a price on that.
Like, one of the things that you start to do, though, is you start to show people respect, and you try to say to them that you understand that the things that happened to them before now was not right. I mean,
I hope it's not an hourly wage.
That's done through education, not monetary-wise. That's done through education.
How much money do you want to come up with, Wonder Boy, to pay everybody?
I mean, it's going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars.
And let me say this. Would you give more money to blacks than you would to Indians?
That's exactly it. I mean, I can understand corporations like BMW, Mercedes giving money back because they used slave labor during the Holocaust and stuff like this. But, I mean... brothers and sisters are too woven into the fabric of the United States of America. There's no money that should be put on that. You can't put money on the slavery. And, I mean, who are you going to charge? Where's the money going to come?
Well, again, Mike, one of the first things that you could do is you could make that a voluntary deduction on your taxes, like so many other things. You could have people that say, listen, I feel what happened was terrible, and I think that I would like to donate a portion of my tax money to some kind of reparations for all people that were wrong.
Basically, all you'd be doing is paying yourself. Because you'd be giving them money to give back to you. That doesn't work like that.
Except for if you're Republican.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you, Mike.
Trickle up.
Here's Mark. Mark, you're on the Ron and Fez show. Buddy.
Mark, what do you got?
The Redskins did lose a portion of their situation with their name. It's a private company, so you can't... Oh, excuse me, it's a corporation. But they aren't federally regulated. The only thing they can go after them and did was their trademark, because that is federally regulated. And their application for copyright, they were sued for that to get that freed up. They actually ended up getting that freed up. It's under appeal.
Yeah. I think...
And that's the spear on the helmet.
And I do not think that that's going to be a long-term name. It just can't be.
They fight it every year.
Yeah, every single year, sooner or later, somebody, maybe not this owner, one of them is going to go, whatever, man. Just
Yeah, the
call
people
us
are just
whatever.
insensitive around here and aren't too concerned about it. They're more interested in the reputation.
Yeah, I'd rather, see some wins than anything else.
Yeah, you get a Lombardi trophy, and you could call the team anything you want to. You're going to call him champ.
Here is, let's go to Daniel. You're on Ron and Fez.
Daniel, what you got?
Hey, I just wanted to say, number one, the idea for, that, Wonder Boy had about the day where we, make all the Indians feel better about what we do is a kind of dumb idea, because who wants a day off where you're just feeling bad about yourself?
Yeah, I don't want to, that's a good thing. I don't want a sad day off.
But Dan, the thing is
I want a day off to picnic. But can I have a barbecue if it's a day of atonement?
But I mean, you can barbecue on any of the other 364 days. This is a day where you
Thank you.
Give us some sort of August holiday. We need one in that month.
I mean, the thing is that this is people were killed, and I'm sorry if that makes you feel bad, Daniel, or if you wanted to do something else on that Monday, but people were killed by the thousands for no reason.
People were killed by a lot of things. We don't have a holiday when people would crash in traffic.
But again, the thing is that maybe you don't need a holiday to celebrate how bad you feel, but we shouldn't be celebrating the evil that was done. And since it's already a holiday, we should just consider the way that we think about it and think about it in a new way.
All right, you know what's really weird? Now, do you think we should hold on to a lot of that stuff, Fez?
I think we should hold on to Columbus Day.
But do you think that that people shouldn't protest or whatever, or have these hard feelings so long after? Like Fairfax Mike's saying that we've already moved on long enough.
People are always going to feel that they're being unjustified against.
I was raised in an Irish family, and the English are so hated to this day. They're so hated that really, I wasn't taught that the IRA was so bad. Even when they were bombing Harrods and all that kind of stuff, and I remember my family going, well, what did they expect for the way they've acted? These things are going to end up happening back. So I understand about people holding a grudge. Here's Dixon, you're on Fez.
Dixon.
What's up, gentlemen? How you doing?
Good, buddy. What do you got for us?
All right, well, there's actually two things. The first one is that those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And I think the best reparation that you could ever pay is learn from the mistakes of both this country and other countries and so forth. And when it comes down to monetary reparations, I mean, if you throw money at somebody and say, this is because we're really sorry that slavery happened or something, first off, who do you pay and how much do you pay? And why would money solve that problem? Does money mean that history would be changed and slavery no longer would have happened?
Dixon, one of the things that you could do with that... One of the things that you can do with that money is that you don't have to necessarily give it to individual citizens, like you give them a check for $50 and say you feel bad, but you can use it to educate people. You can use it to establish ways to show people what happened. You can use it to establish ways to celebrate the culture that we tried to snuff out.
Why don't we pay for that big statue they've been trying to build out there? Who are they doing the big statue of? That one of the chiefs.
Oh yeah, who is it? Is it Cochise?
No, I can't remember what it is. I actually saw the damn thing. It's going to be giant, man. The top of a mountain.
I mean, that
Maybe
would be
a giant statue would make everybody forget about all of our problems.
I don't know. Again, it wouldn't necessarily make us forget about the problems, but it would give people a point for discussion, a way to start a dialogue about the natives, what happened to them, what was great about their culture, and what was wrong about what happened to them. And that's why I think it's important to collect money. There's things you can do with it.
If I was them, I'd rather get cash up front.
I always like a check.
That's it. But here's the thing, and I don't mind paying. And I'll definitely pay black people and Indian people for what happened. But I want you 100% pure before you get the check.
Yeah.
I don't want any mixed marriage children coming and inspecting. All right, give me 75%. That's not fair.
Again, yeah. I mean, paying individual people, you would certainly run into a lot of problems like that. That's why I think it would be much better to use the money.
I want pure. So I don't know what kind of DNA, but I want it to be as pure as possible. Because I don't want one guy with a black grandfather coming in getting the same check as everybody else.
You probably should bring in a genealogy with you.
Let's face it, Hawk could pick up a check the way he looks.
I give it to him. I wouldn't know any better.
I wouldn't. I'd say, first I'm going to run a test here, Mr. Hawk. Pete, whatever your name is. Jared, you're on a Fez.
Hey, Jared.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, buddy. What you got?
I just wanted to comment on how Wonderboy is talking about how Columbus Day is the celebration of all these horrible things that Columbus did.
Oh, he calls it Hannibal Lecter Day.
Right. Well, I think what he's kind of forgetting is the fact that Columbus discovering all of this nation, and granted he didn't discover the mainland and everything, and we can put all that aside, but the fact that he discovered this and set in motion what eventually would end up as the formation of this country, of the United States of America, and everything that is great about that.
But Jared, we can celebrate all those things on like President's Day. There's the 4th of July when we want our independence. There are other days.
Let's face it, there's almost too many days.
I mean, you can't.
Right, but what I'm saying is that Columbus is probably just he's more of an icon now when it comes to Columbus Day. We're not
right, and that's the problem. What happens with history is things get glossed over and things get they get polished up, and the terrible things that happen just get pushed to the side in an attempt to have an icon, and that's what's wrong. And that's what makes it important to take a day that's based on an icon right now and say, no, he was a real person. He had a lot of flaws, and the things that he did weren't necessarily right.
Should we not celebrate 4th of July because a lot of British people got killed around that time?
No, see, I mean, I agree that Columbus did do horrible things, and that horrible things happened under his command and whatnot, but it's also, that is something that can still be taught. It can be, interwoven into the whole Columbus Day celebration.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Teach kids that, yes, it's
some
not...
bad things happen, and still enjoy your Columbus Day.
But that's the problem. You can't just say that. You can't just... It would be like having a day for Hitler and saying he did so many good things for the economy that you can't get angry at.
No, see, the thing is, it's more of a day for the Italian people themselves. This is a day Italians enjoy.
The thing is that they should be able to feel part of all the holidays, every holiday that we enjoy. They shouldn't have to feel like they're excluded.
They don't take Christmas and say, forget that.
So I don't know why that... I mean, I would think if I was an Italian-American, I would feel bad that our day, the day to feel like an Italian, is for a guy who massacred people.
Well, then you should have them decide it. Maybe if all the Italian-Americans said, look, we'd like to use somebody else. We'd like to use Frankie Valli. I would have no problem doing Frankie Valli. I want it on the same day. I don't want it suddenly. I don't know when Frankie Valli's birthday is, but I don't want it smack up against another holiday unless we know
our day, the day to feel like an Italian, is for a guy who massacred people.
Well, then you should have them decide it. Maybe if all the Italian-Americans said, look, we'd like to use somebody else. We'd like to use Frankie Valli. I would have no problem doing Frankie Valli. I want it on the same day. I don't want it suddenly. I don't know when Frankie Valli's birthday is, but I don't want it smack up against another holiday unless we know we're getting a 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have that than a 3-day. The 3-day doesn't do much for me.
Find something in October.
Because here's an interesting thing, though. And we talk about the way we teach our kids and all. And the way we feel about America. Out of all, do you feel that America itself, the United States of America, has a special relationship with God?
Does the United States? Yeah, I think so.
That's kind of interesting because most Americans believe that. Now tell me what makes you feel like we have the special relationship with God?
I think probably going back to the settlers where they came to this country basically for religious freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something in the foundation there.
But do you still even buy into that when as soon as those same people got here, they tried to stop other people from having religious freedom, including the native people to that area, or the people who came directly behind them?
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But I still think I think most people would feel this country, if you say America, you're going to put God and country together.
Very interesting. Over, let's say, France, over Russia, we have the special relationship with God.
There's definitely countries that have relationships with God. The Middle Eastern countries probably have more of a relationship with the God they worship more than America does. Russia, I don't know, because with the communist years, there was so much, crackdown.
Yeah, but I think you're thinking politically, but I'm saying a spiritual relationship. Almost as like, who's the chosen people? Would you say the United States has that special relationship with God? That what's good for the United States is kind of good for God, the way some people have believed in the past.
I would think that, yes, this country has that feeling of we're doing God's work in the world. I would imagine this country has that sentiment.
Do you have it?
I would like to think so. I always like to think that we're the good guys. It's, and there's a lot of bad things that happen along the way. When we would say things like make the world safe for democracy, to me that falls into that category.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'd like to think of us as the good guys.
I saw a poll on this, and most Americans think that we do, out of everybody, have the special relationship with God. That's a weird one, though. It's a weird one that is kind of ingrained, and I don't know how they did it, since since there is supposed to be a separation between church and state, but we feel that.
I think when people see this country doing charitable things, like when we help out other nations, or send money, or maybe try to feed the hungry, or send like the AIDS money to Africa, that sort of thing, that all falls into the charitable thing, and that is a God quality.
Right, but if you looked at it that way, we sent $15 billion over 5 years to Africa.
Right.
And this is the best we've done yet.
Yeah.
And we just spent $80 billion bombing another city. In less than a month. I mean, you would not say that, you wouldn't expect a church to go, well, look, here's where we spent our money for our church. Some of it was spent over 5 years, 3 a year, and then 80 to bomb a city over less than 30 days. So, it's very interesting, though. The point that got to me is I think that most people feel like you. I'll check with the guys on the show. Wonderboy, you think we have a special relationship with God?
No, I don't think that we do. I believe everyone feels it, and I think that speaks to how we feel, how self-centered we are.
We'll open up the phone lines to that. It's kind of an interesting thing to me. 866-277-4969. 866-277-4969. Here's one of the guys that actually is Islamic. He's from Armenia. It's our own Harry Elvis. Harry, I know your dad's kind of anti-American.
No, he's very pro.
Do you feel this country has a special relationship with God?
No, I just think we're lucky to be in this country. We're just at a prosperous time.
At no time at all is God's hand involved?
I don't think any more than anywhere else.
Yeah.
Let's say, would you say, like back then, he would have been, in favor of Rome?
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where it's just we're in the right place, right time.
The Romans did pray to their gods and feel that they were involved in it. Let me check with Mikey D. He's got many gods. He's a Greek, Fezzy. So what do you have? Neptune, and there's Apollo or something like that? Zeus.
Yeah, Achilles, all of them.
Nike's in there.
Apollo.
I definitely think that we as a nation, we definitely are, are into God. I know I am, and I know...
No. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying.
Okay.
As a nation,
yes,
do we have a special relationship with God? Are we kind of God's favorite child out there?
I believe we are.
Why?
Because we have prospered so much in the 200 years, or 200 plus years that we've been, formed and all that. And I think that we spread that to everybody else. We try to, at least. We try to spread that. I don't know, I can't say godness, but I think, that special thing that we feel that we have, we try to spread it to other countries.
And yet we do it more than them. We're more godlike, or we're more in touch with God than the other countries. The European countries, the African countries, Australia, China.
Yeah, I think so.
Very interesting to me. Here comes, and I'm sure he's going to say yes. Let me check. Come on in, Billy Staples. What do you think?
What you think, Bill?
I think there is one God, and everybody worships it in their own way. Every country has, there is only one God. You look at it differently.
All right, you do not understand. It's the way God looks at us. Is God, has he put his blessings on the United States?
No, God looks at everyone equally.
All right, thank you very much.
So you say no.
I was shocked by that.
Yeah, I would have thought Billy would think, God bless America, and does every day.
I think that kind of thinking, that we and God somehow go hand in hand, go to show the kind of trouble that we have seeing ourselves in this world. That we don't see ourselves as part of this world. We see ourselves way up and above it. Here's Mike. Mike, you're on Ron and Fez, and I mean as Americans.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Mike.
I can hardly hear you. I'm sorry. I'm in a cell phone here.
What you got for us, buddy?
I think you've got a fascinating topic going down here. It's like when you're talking about God and the way each country looks at God, every country feels like they have their own religion that is exactly what it's supposed to be, you know? And it really makes no difference because it's not only what God has to say, but it's how every person lives their real life day after day.
All right, thank you very much, my friend. Here's Bobby. Bobby, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Bob.
Hello, fellas.
Yeah.
I don't think we're blessed by God, but I really wanted to get in on the Columbus thing and say that I think the Indians won in the long run because we gave them alcohol and kicked their butt.
Thank you very much. Here is Angela. Angela, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Angela.
Hi. The reason why I called, actually, I like the topic, and the reason why I was calling is, no, we're not, America's not above God, or they're not, Americans do see themselves as God, but at the same point, I think it's always because, like you were saying, something about we always see ourselves as top of everybody else. And I think there's a problem with that because half the time we are exploiting certain nations, and then we expect them either not to say anything or for them to shut up while we, participate and take care of the country. For instance, that's just what happened with Iraq.
I have to tell you the truth. I think where I kind of differ even a little bit with Mikey D and Fez is that some of the stuff that we haven't, where we go, we try to do this and that, I think a lot of the stuff is almost even too big for the United States. Yet somehow we feel like, hey, if we put our thoughts on AIDS in Africa, we'd be able to polish that up. But we have to go over to the Philippines and take care of that. And if you really look around the world, we haven't done such a great job. And it's maybe not because we're not good people. It's these things take the whole world to work together on. And part of us, I think, separates ourselves from the rest of the world, whether it's from the oceans or whatever.
That's the problem because sometimes I think at some point Americans tend to, overdo things. And I don't think it's in a bad way. I think sort of like being a policeman of the world or thinking they're policeman of the world and being God. I'm sorry?
Yeah. All right, I got you. Somebody picked up your line. All right, thank you very much, Angela. Here's a young man, Fezzy. It's Dustin. Dustin, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi, Dustin.
I think that God gave us all this power and wealth, and He's using us to go out in the world and use it and help other people.
Now, you're young, right, Dustin?
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
15.
Where would you learn something like that God gave us power to use in the world?
Well, I went to Catholic school for a few years.
Uh-huh.
And it just seems like we are so wealthy and we're trying to go around and help other people.
But, Jesus wasn't wealthy.
He wasn't, but he wasn't wealthy, and most other countries aren't, but He gave us this power.
But where did it say that somewhere? Did Jesus say at one point, I'm going to find a new world, give them power, and have them spread their God work?
Well, no, but, why else would we have all this wealth and power if we weren't to use it for good?
Well, Rome had a lot of power. Germany had a lot of power. A lot of places at different times get a lot of power. It doesn't mean that they always use it for good.
They might not use it for good, but in their minds, they might have thought we're doing good, just like our war in Iraq. We thought we were doing good. Other people didn't see it that way.
All right, thank you very much, young man. Here is Jason. Jason, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Jason.
Fez, how y'all doing?
Hey, my buddy.
Hey, I believe it's more of a narcissistic feeling. We do try to do so much good, and we go around the country, and we have succeeded in certain things, and I believe that we feel that we're blessed by God because of all we have done. And I think that's what it all falls down to. It's just a narcissistic feeling. We're not blessed by God, but we feel we are because we try to do so much.
We are kind of narcissistic. It doesn't mean that, like you said, we don't do good. Fez, you're a Lutheran, right? That's the way you were raised?
Yes, I am.
Well, this will be a very special day in your life. It's a little bit of a spy report.
Spy report.
I just got this in from the heckler. Says, just as Jesus rose from the dead,
yes,
Luther Vandross has awakened from his coma.
No way! Way to go, Luthor!
And now I'm starting to understand why you're a Lutheran. I get it now. Now I'm a believer.
They wrote him off. They had to cut a hole in his throat for him to breathe.
So some of our guys will look up that news story. We'll come back and look at it. But that is great news, man. I hope it all works out for him.
That is excellent. God bless Luther Vandross.
That's a spy report from the hack. We'll take a break. 866-277-4969. It's WJFK. It's Ron and Fez.